I know the conditions have been tough out there. We just spoke with Nadal, and he said that the problems, as he saw it, had not to do with the officials, but representation. What does he mean by that? Do you think changing representation would change the rain policy out here at all in the future?
The official representation.
He said the representation of the players here in the tournament, and that should change. And
well, I just think I think because we have the ATP and the ITF, and they don't like each other very much. There's always going to be some issues with Davis Cup, the schedule, the Grand Slams, and things like what happened yesterday.
Well, how do you think if that was different, that might change the rain on the court with calls like that?
The rain on the court?
Well, I think he was talking about how he was upset, and you both, all three of you were.
Well, the difference is that at the ATP tournaments, not this one, we have like ATP representatives, we have like an ATP tour manager, like ATP referees, so they're looking out for the players, is what they're obviously there to do. And here we have an ATP tour manager who was in the locker room with us beforehand yesterday, and he was saying it's still raining out there, guys, you shouldn't go out and play. And then the referees here, it's different, it's the ITF. They want us to go out on the court, and if it was at an ATP tournament, we wouldn't have been on the court. But because it's not, the ATP don't run the Grand Slams, then it's not always up to us.
Do you think commercial interests trump player well-being?
Yeah.
And do you think it's more so here than in other tournaments, particularly Grand Slams?
I don't know. To be honest. I mean, I think if a lot of because in Australia and at Wimbledon they have a roof now. Wimbledon, maybe in the past a lot of times, the guys would go on for 10, 15 minutes at a time sometimes, and even when Roger and Rafa played the final there, the conditions were still pretty bad and whatnot. But I think now it's kind of, you see it maybe a little bit more here because there's no roof or anything. There's a lot more pressure to get matches on, regardless of what the weather's like, whereas at Wimbledon and in Australia you're guaranteed tennis now, so there's not as much of a panic to get the matches on.
Are players frustrated with the fact that they haven't had a roof put on, that this seems to be the same conversation?
No, it's not the roof. It's not the roof that's the problem. I don't think it's, having a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday first round doesn't help. Having the semis on Saturday and Sunday I don't think helps. Some basic covers I would think would do for now. I don't think the roof is necessary.
You're facing the prospect. What kind of reaction have you gotten from other players for the stand that you and Andy and Rafael took? Some people are saying it's a watershed moment in terms of players actually standing up for themselves.
I think after the tournament is done, probably a good time for a lot of the players to kind of sit down and have a big discussion about just the tour in general, because right now we're looking for a new CEO, and also with obviously the problems that we've had here, I think it's probably now a good time to sit down and discuss how we would like the tour to be run, and who we would like to run tennis. I feel like we the players understand that it's not just about the players, that it's about, there's many other things that go into it, and having a commissioner that wasn't biased to one side or the other, towards the players or the tournaments or the TV, I think would be a step in the right direction. But the thing is, everyone needs to agree on it, and if you have 2 or 3 guys agreeing on it and 2 or 3 guys disagreeing, and then half of the tour aren't really bothered, and some are. I don't know. And also the women's tour, I think, needs to come into it too. I think that would help.
You're facing the prospect of 4 matches in 4 days. Is that daunting, or does that not enter into your mind? Strange?
Well, it's not ideal, but that's kind of what you have to deal with just now, and you just got to get on with it. Like, obviously the last few days haven't been great, but also there's nothing, it was raining anyway, there's nothing that we could have done about it at the time because there's no covers and whatnot, so you just got to try and embrace the situation, do all the right things to get yourself ready to, if you have to play 4 matches in 4 days, but I'm still a long way from having to play 4 matches in 4 days.
Andy, what do you think about the fact that the top half of the draw are playing their quarterfinals today?
Yeah, I was saying I hope it rains tonight. I hope it rains tonight, because everyone's then in the same boat, really. I mean, yeah, I hope it rains, and then there can't be any. Well, I mean, we're still having to play 4 matches in 4 days rather than 3 and 3. But yeah, that's. I mean, it's clearly an advantage. Anyone that plays sport would tell you that.
Andy, now that you've won, can you sympathise with him at all for he's having a big moment here. He's got some momentum going, which has been hard for him to do in his young career, and he's got to wait 2 days. Did you feel that? Any sympathy from him? Do you think that played any kind of a role in his performance today?
No. Well, I don't know whether it played a part in his performance or not. He's not young anymore. He's 22 years old. So I think 21, 22 years old. So everyone has to deal with those situations, and maybe me and a few of the other guys will have had more experience in dealing with those situations. So if he struggled today and it was a little bit because of that, then yeah, but there's nothing any of us could have done. And for the guys as well, I think are here to try and win the event. There's a lot of pressure to try and get matches done quickly, and also because, like you say, playing 4 matches in 4 days is a bit of pressure. Not to have a brutal match today either. So it was tough for everyone.
What are your thoughts? There's actually been some suggestions that they could play best of 3 just to try and get it in on before Sunday at some stage. Would that? Do you think
No, I'd rather just go for it now and try and get it done. And in a way, I think if something happens to a player or something, the final turns out to be an absolute, dead match because someone's so tired, I think it would show up. Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of flaws have shown up, but it would be a time to say, look, it's meant to be the biggest match or one of the biggest matches in tennis, and it's been, messed up because of the schedule. So I think we should just try and play the best of 5, try and get through it. Hopefully everyone will be okay, and then after the tournament sit down and with whoever and make sure it doesn't happen again.
What are your thoughts on the possible opponent for the next match?
Well, I've only played John once or twice, and Gilles I've played quite a lot. I've had good results against Gilles. I've always quite enjoyed playing him, but he's a tough guy to play because he doesn't give you anything. So you need to play a very solid match and a smart match, because he can be, as you saw, winning against Del Potro the other day, he can frustrate a lot of players. He makes it very difficult. And John, he's got a huge serve, and can hit big forehands, and is a little bit erratic and doesn't give you much rhythm. So they're completely different matchups.
And given the situation, how things were the way you handled things out there and the way that you played?
I thought I was hitting the ball well from the back of the court. I would have liked to have served better. I was a bit frustrated in the middle of the second